what got me into trying to observe my actual world is because of video games. I remember when I played Uncharted 4 that there was just these amazing scenes of nature, of them exploring the world. And I legit just took moments just to stare at the leaves and foliage. It made me realize that even where I live, you can just sit and take in scenery and things. Hello, and welcome to the Gaggle Nerds podcast. I'm Kevin, and unfortunately, my co-hosts, Donovan and Kale, aren't able to record this one because of some technical problems with when recording with Tommy and the audio and systems, a whole bunch of stuff. We weren't able to record together. So for this one, gonna try something a little different. Just made a agreement that I would post at least the podcast every week. So this is what we're getting. This might be a little shorter than the other ones, and obviously I don't have the my friends to work off of, but we'll see what happens. And see if this ends up being a disaster. But either way, maybe it'll be a funny one. Disaster, I mean. So, not much for small talk for this one, but um, Monday. No, hold on. Saturday, I had to drop off my dog, Coco, to my mom's, with because she's newly wed, and I had to take care of the dog for a little bit. Coco really doesn't like strangers and other people, so kept barking at my friends. But while on the drive, very surprisingly, he managed to stay pretty sane. It was a nice trip actually. 2 hours away though, so it was a long one. Uh, and yeah, they got two the 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 guy my mom married. He has two, not bulldogs, but the tiny ones. Uh, and they're a little aggressive, but a little worried for Coco there. Both because it seems like those dogs and Coco aren't very social with any other dogs. But he'll probably be fine. Um, I almost bought an Xbox One just because it was there when we went over yesterday, Monday, to I forgot what the mall was called, but visit old GameStop. Haven't been to one of those in a while. You could actually get an Xbox S for fairly cheap, like under $200. It was crazy. Based on what I think I'm going to title this video, you probably want to get to the actual topic bit. Exploration. Recently, for a while now, I've been obsessed with the idea of exploration. Because typically in video games, such as Breath of the Wild, Skyrim, the whole idea of the open world and exploring, and how, why is it that we like that sort of thing, and how does it affect our the own real life? I mean, our own active lives, or and why there's such a desire to explore, and why we can't really do that right now. But first off, what I mean by exploring, right? Um, let's go for example, Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. You know, the it those games are designed for that specific sense of exploration. And if you ever heard talks about how the Nintendo actually designed the game, they make it so no matter what, there's always something new you can see in the distance. There's always something you can do within a short amount of time, and it's they really nailed down that sense of exploration, and based on the definition of it, it's just finding something new. Um, I mean, you know what exploration is, but And now that's why a lot of people like the open world games, and why some are better and some are not. Um, I wanted to try it for a D&D thing as well. It's a little more difficult to replicate, but that's for another thing entirely. So, but really what I'm trying to get at is I became more obsessed with the idea, how does one actually do that in real life? Because it seems like the sense of exploration is a very in like it's a very human desire to find new things. That's why I mean, when I originally heard about people finding new things and becoming was obsessed with that, was the idea of people always wanting something new, and that's why people buy things all the time. They always want something new to have and like mess with, you know. Um, and that's why capitalism works so well. Um, because in the past, well, it was very easy to explore. Well, much easier, because there was a bunch of land and areas where no one had any knowledge of, and if you were to go there, you'd always guarantee find something new. And well, now obviously for many reasons that's hard to do, because one, a lot of the world has already been explored. I don't know if you ever seen those memes, but like we're we were born too late to explore, be explorers. But also the fact, like, um, no, we'll get to that later. Just you wait. Well, but yeah, I don't know if you ever thought about it. I mean, it's why there's that huge desire for many to travel. You know, to see new places. Sure, it's not new places for other people, but it's still very a fun thing to see other cultures and see new people and that sort of thing. If you're brave enough for it. I in the past I wouldn't think I would ever want to do something like that, but now I actually find the idea very very fun and interesting. Um, it also got me very interested into camping. I mean, because it is literally just. Oh, I need to pause for a second. Whew. It's literally just going back to what people used to do, you know, when they went out to explore and find new things. It was literally just you find a random spot, you camp there, you cook, you eat, you sleep, just out in the wilderness. And it is actually a very fun thing to do. You're not bothered by anyone, and you could just focus on, you know, either moving to the next location or just getting what you need in order to, you know, make a fire, cook some food, getting water, cleaning, and that sort of thing. It's weirdly mundane, but it's more hands-on. And of course, there is something about just being outside. Um, Funnily enough, I think a large part of why I look into the what got me into trying to observe my actual world is because of video games. I remember when I played Uncharted 4 that there was just these amazing scenes of nature, of them exploring the world, and I legit like just took moments just to stare at the leaves and foliage. And that made me realize that in, you know, even where I live, um you can just sit and take in scenery and things. And yeah, that's a common old phrase all the time, of just smell the flowers and that sort of thing. Yeah, I get that, but again, I was young, and that never interested me. You know, just trying to observe the actual world and, you know, nature and that sort of thing, and that made me that Uncharted 4 game made me like I need to spend time just looking at the world, looking at even at the trees moving and wind blowing. That is somehow very serene and relaxing. Um, and made me have a deeper appreciation for the world I actually live in. And I believe that's what camping, actually does. A similar occurrence happened with Tears of the Kingdom, actually, where I did a thing where I tried to play some Tears of the Kingdom music, Breath of the Wild music, or Tears of the Kingdom, and I just tried to stare at like the rising sun, the clouds, and it was a very nice feeling because I remember doing that earlier in the game, and also it got me into this other thing about exploring. This concept of wandering. There's this one person who I don't know if you ever seen the Wreck Your Journal books, but she has a whole the whole point of those apparently is this concept of wandering, and she made an entire it's a woman, I think. She made an entire like book on about the concept of just going out and doing stuff without any goal or anything like that. um and just doing random stuff and like observing, yes, or writing or reading or drawing, and just walking, and those other books she makes, like this journal, kind of give us the idea of randomness when about going about exploring the actual world. I would look, and she made this hypothetical society of wanderers, a fictional one, and I love the concept. I can't remember the actual book, but I think it's like the Wanderer Society. And in this book, of it's a fictionalized version of this group of people who try to disconnect from like the world and that sort of thing, and get into this philosophy of just going about in the world and wandering and going about randomly and hiding themselves. It is a very interesting and cool thing I want to check out maybe in the future. And now, okay, here's where the actual problem arises. I think most people actually want to do this, wander and explore the actual world. Um, you know, purpose of vacations and camping and that sort of thing. And here's the biggest problem. Here's that biggest problem. It's money. The thing is, people who actually get the chance to explore the world, they have the money to do so, right? They actually have the money to go to places, stay comfortable, and not worry about food and safety and shelter, that sort of thing, And you can't exactly just hunt for your own food or go anywhere as you please, because there's land, and also you have to have money eventually and go back to your house after you, even on like short camping trips, or even if you do have the money, even if you do have the ability to get off work for long stretches of time, eventually you're going to have to get back to your job, so you could and have the safety of having a shelter and food and money, and in reality that's the biggest actual problem with wanting to adventure like you would in a video game or a piece of fiction, where it's talking about exploring, uh, and yeah, duh. And that's enough for people. I think you should actually just explore and adventure within those certain short time frames, and maybe people prefer that. But again, I became obsessed with the idea of how they do it in video games, because in video games, well, typically you don't have a house. Maybe you could get one, but you don't have a house. You don't have to do a job. You literally just go about and run around and do random fun stuff, and get money somehow for it. And you always manage to find a place to stay and like eat, and like that isn't a worry, because duh, video game. But I mean, theoretically, something similar used to happen in the past, I suppose, when they were actual exploring. Sure, obviously, a lot more complicated than that. Um, right? Because in reality, to actually, not have a home exactly and go about it and explore the world and, adventure as you would, you need money or like a way to make money on the road, which is a much more difficult thing to do than having a job where you just do the same thing again and again, which can be repetitive, yes, but it's the reality, and you got a job. Uh, it's yeah, it's a very, I don't know, like this is stuff I think about. I and I just wish there was a way to go about, not just for those who have the money to travel and explore and do that, but like that everyone could. And yeah, it's very utopian, that sort of idea. And so I just daydream up, ideas of how would people go about doing that. Like, what if like everyone had access to very easily a on the go sort of job style, or like it was very easy to get work as you travel, and there's certain things like that, I suppose. And I get that. I know there are methods of doing it, but some of this stuff you got to get lucky, and you have maybe money at the start. That's how the world works, I suppose. Uh, I um I came up with the idea of like just have, it's like the concept with geocaching, right? It in Breath of the Wild and Tears in the Kingdom, there's random those Korok seeds you could randomly find in like the environment, or doing very basic puzzles and that sort of thing, and just finding them. That's what geocaching. And if you don't know what geocaching is, it's hiding little caches, containers of things for people to find. They like write their name, and like maybe there's some hidden stuff there, and it's it's like what are called scavenger hunt sort of style thing. There's an app and everything. um, you know then there's remember Pokemon Go? I never really got into it, but there was that whole thing before 2020 happened, and where and imagine if that never did happen actually, and like it was more of a actually active global thing. Maybe there would have been more games like that, if that ever happened. you know People like going outside. There's that whole meme of, oh, go touch grass. I think most people do actually want to touch grass. It's just I don't think people actually have many opportunities to do so, maybe. Because, like, if you're in a city, that's a much harder thing to do. I have the benefit of, and so do my friends and I, we live, like, in the urban? Is it rural? Urban. I think more urban area. We live in, like, a town, basically. And there are camping spots within driving distance fairly easily, under an hour, under 30 minutes. And you could very much easily go about, actually be in nature and like walk around and see stuff. Sure, maybe not like interesting stuff in the city like that, but it's and I imagine people in the city do actually have a harder time. I know that because I used to live in a city, and yeah, there's some pretty cool parks, and I guess it kind of takes care of that. I don't know what kind of point I'm trying to make here. I'm just saying, okay, right, that's the point. Am I crazy here? Is it just a human desire to go about and explore, right? And it just upsets me so that isn't as easy as it is in video games. And again, that's silly, that's dumb. But I really wish there was a way to make that sense of exploration and adventure in video games, you could do so in more easily in real life. Um, and yeah, I do that sometimes, I suppose. I gotta do more so with Donovan and Kale also. Um, I think Rora and is planning a camping trip soon. But then again, gotta spend time off work, and that's less money for me because I have part time. Okay. I'm not trying to be a downer. That's not what I'm trying to be. Okay. Um, I'm just saying. I think people should try and actually adventure. Actually go about and see the scenery of life, of nature, and that sort of thing. Because it is honestly a very good experience to have. Um, I'm not gonna say it's gonna solve all your problems, but I if you like actually adventure games and that sort of thing or that concept, you can do so in real life, I think. And I hope one day someone some way somehow it'll be easier to actually go about doing that. You know? Uh dang. I wish Kale and Donovan were here. They usually interrupt me, so I can't actually get to a point across real easily. um, so it lengthens the video. I guess yeah. I've said what I need to say, I suppose. Um, so, uh, again, check out like adventure games like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Um, Go out and explore nature, your surroundings. Spend the time to actually go about doing that. I'm not being all boomer here and saying, "Oh, get off your phones and stuff." And I don't know. I like walking and just listen to podcasts or video essays, which Donovan and Kale will get on me about. Um, I mean, maybe you could listen to our other podcast episodes while I go and do that. Anyway, this has been Kevin. Go, yeah, do the whole subscribe thing. And Donovan and Kale are going to see this first, I think, before I upload. So, hi, Kale, Donovan. And yeah, bye.